Is it true that in the human mind there are parasites? Ancestral um, curses? False light inserts? Um, in Sanskrit, I might have this wrong. My friends and I have talked about this before, and sometimes I think when we looked it up, we got the wrong word. Hold on. Okay, I looked at Wikipedia, and it wasn't helpful. The two words that I was looking up are Sanskrit words, which is the ancient language of India, and they are samskara and vritti. And instead of trying to fit with poor explanation from Wikipedia, I'm just going to say they're distortions in the mind. So in ancient India, when spiritual people were far more spiritual and far more knowledgeable than they are today, I don't know why, but something about distortions in the mind they knew about, and I'm going to say pretty much that's what we're dealing with. In other words, if you could get these distortions of the mind out of the mind, you would have a clear mind. And perhaps then you would be, in your words, enlightened. Anyway, the whole talk came about because I was looking at an Instagram slide that was talking about this. And anyway, when I was looking up samskara, I came across one of the so-called greats of spiritual wisdom, one Meyer Baba. And when I was reading the write-up in Wikipedia about Meyer Baba, I noticed he said that at any one time on planet Earth, there are 56 spiritual masters. 56, Meyer Baba. And immediately alarm bells were going off because I remember when Dr. David R. Hawkins of consciousness work in the United States, how many sages, enlightened sages, are on the planet at any one time? About 6. Meyer Baba, 56. Dr. David R. Hawkins, 6. Who's right? Well, Dr. Hawkins always did muscle testing to get his information, and Meyer Baba just talked. Does that make a difference to the truth? Pretty much everything that anyone ever tells me has to be tested by me. Otherwise, I'm just like Wikipedia. I mean, I couldn't understand what Wikipedia was trying to say. It was poorly written articles, and Wikipedia is made by who? I don't know. It's not even like made by Encyclopedia Britannica. There's no one's name on it, but you know that certain people have access to Wikipedia and they're allowed to write articles and edit other people's stuff. Who are they? I don't know. They're just hidden behind the name Wikipedia. Should you trust them? No. Did Meyer Baba said 56? Probably. So how am I going to reconcile? Well, whether it's 6 or 56, that's not very many people on planet Earth that are enlightened. Out of 8 billion people, 56 are enlightened or 6 are enlightened. Is that really a big difference? It's basically no one's enlightened on planet Earth. Still, it's a significant difference in numbers. And Dr. Hawkins is dead, and so is Meyer Baba. And, Meyer Baba said that he died in 1969, and David Hawkins died about, I don't know, let's go with 7 years ago. What exactly is a bona fide spiritual master? An enlightened being. But as far as these samskaras, vriddis, or distortions in people's minds, it is talked about in the Law of One material, which is new spiritual information that is channeled in, supposed to be from extraterrestrials. In other words, the rest of the galaxy follows this religion. It's called Law of One. And most people on planet Earth never heard of Law of One. So, here we are in the middle of a huge galaxy. We don't know nothing about Law of One. But the rest of the galaxy is out there in their spaceships, and they know all about Law of One. Do you think we live on a backwards planet? Maybe you don't believe in extraterrestrials, or you don't believe in channeling, or you say anything that is channeled in is coming from Lucifer, the king of the archdemons, or something. King Clancy is huffing and puffing, which usually means that he wants me to cut it short here. But I'm going to tell you how to get rid of the distortions in your mind. Get that? It's one of my silences. The answer to clearing out all the crud in your mind is to go into silence. Now, what about ancestral curses? Are certain families, like it runs through the blood? Family curses? Spiritually advanced people often seem crazy to the average Joe. Why is that? Because the spiritually advanced people are just talking at a different level. And you pretty much, the average guy in the street has got about 10 seconds for you. And in 10 seconds, if you can't make sense to the person on the street's just going to say, you're another wingnut. And they're going to move along. So, and who really needs the help? It's actually the person on the street that needs more help than the one who appears cuckoo. Because the purpose for being alive is to advance your consciousness, to head towards enlightenment, to understand how you are God. And if you're perhaps of a certain religion, me saying that is going to be sacrilegious. Nevertheless, it's what all the enlightened masters say. If they say anything at all about God, they said, well, that's what you are. And then, the man on the street kind of gets this puzzled look on his, I need a beer and a cigarette. I can't handle this guy. You're too out there, dude. Subtitles. If I was going to give you subtitles here, I would put the subtitle saying, you're in search of something other than me. repeating myself over and over again about, well, for example, Dr. David R. Hawkins. Is Dr. Hawkins a legitimate consciousness researcher? Snopes would probably tell you it's false information, fake news. There is no logic to Dr. David R. Hawkins. Why? Because Snopes is just paid to diss everything. I like to tell the story that there is a website called Quack Watch about, medical quacks, doctors that should have their licenses revoked. Dr. Hawkins has been put there. I haven't looked for a number of years, but I did see him there. But who's the one that's calling Dr. Hawkins a quack? Dr. Hawkins, by his bio, had pretty much the largest psychiatric practice in the United States at one particular point in time. He was endorsed by Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, Wayne Dyer, the spiritual teacher, Mother Teresa, the Catholic saint. He was associated with Nobel Prize winning scientist Linus Pauling, who was also called a quack because of his work with vitamin C. Why? Well, pretty much vitamin C is dirt cheap to buy. And if it helps you with your health, then there's no profit in it for corporations. And if you're in big pharmaceutical companies, you don't want people taking vitamin C that's going to make them better, because then they're not going to buy your $1,500 a month drug. So there's definitely a reason why Linus Pauling would be called a quack. It's because corporations can't make any money selling vitamin C. I just said that. So, who else are you going to go to for advancing your consciousness? Meyer Baba, according to Wikipedia, was very much anti-LSD, which was being promulgated, by other types of people, non-religious people, taking LSD for enhanced consciousness reasons. And Meyer Baba said, well, you're damaging yourself spiritually. Is it true? I don't think so. I think Meyer Baba didn't take LSD. I didn't know the first thing about LSD, and he was pretty much a conservative from the Middle East. So whatever Meyer Baba says about LSD, I'm going to discount it 100%. Just because there's plenty of people who are recognized as being spiritually advanced teachers who were doing LSD in the 1960s. And if Meyer Baba is a spiritually advanced person, shouldn't he know that? Which always comes back to caveat emptor. You don't know who these spiritual teachers are. You don't know if what they're teaching is correct. You're basically at the mercy of anybody who says, these are my bona fides. This is why I'm a spiritual teacher. So the best recommendation is read a lot of different people, or watch a lot of different people, and try and find somebody who's been sort of recognized by a group of sort of enlightened people as being a leader. Try them out. And always be aware that if you're an average man in the street, you are always suffering from cognitive dissonance, which means when you hear something that's going to be out of your regular kind of stuff, it's going to sound odd to you. Be aware of cognitive dissonance and press on.